welcome into another episode of It's Not Only Football, blank, 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 and beyond. Last week, we went on a cruise with our cruise director, Zach Gilford. The passengers, Mae Whitman and myself, had a blast, and we hope the viewers and listeners did as well. Just to recap really quickly, for anybody who took a couple of weekends off or a couple of weeks off from listening to the pod, no, we cannot talk about the blank, blank, blank in our podcast's name. It is the rules of what we are doing right now on strike as SAG-AFTRA strong, in solidarity with the WGA as well. And rules are rules. I know some other podcasts are talking about their show.
Loves rules.
Yeah.
He's a rule follower.
Some other podcasts are talking about their show,
structure.
but there are rules and exceptions that are on a case-to-case basis. I heard out of a SAG-AFTRA strike team's mouth that we cannot talk about this show, and I agree with them, so we are not talking about the show. Now, the other part of our name is It's Not Only Football, and I want to continue doing that.
Of course
because
you do.
Right
Scott
now, it's
loves
not.
structure. And last week, we took a little bit of it away, and this week he said, but
he's still recovering.
Let's talk about this. It's not only football.
I'm the opposite of the spectrum. I'm like, you better throw some shit at me that I have no idea is coming, because that's when stuff really starts to get good.
Can I tell you a story about throwing shit? I went to college, as I like to brag about.
Oh my God, we get it.
That means nothing, but I took some acting classes, and my first acting class freshman year, they made us spend like a month or two doing animal work. So you had to go to the zoo and pick an animal to observe and like embody it. It was like physical stuff that I think is silly actor stuff that you shouldn't waste your time with. So I picked a lowland gorilla, and my good buddy Joe Petrilla picked a lowland gorilla. We went to the zoo and watched them, and then we went out on like the campus and like ran around as like gorillas, and everyone's looking at us like, oh, those weird theater nerds. And then we're sitting on the ground at one point, and I'm like hunched over like the gorillas do when I observe them, and something hit me in the knee, and I looked down, and there was a turd that had just hit me in the knee, and I look over at Joe, and he's just going, I said, did you just throw shit at me? He goes, that's what they did in the zoo.
He threw his own shit at you?
No, he was like a goose turd or a dog turd or something. He found.
Are you sure he didn't
Wait, how
crap
big is
in his
a goose
hand?
turd?
I
throw
will
a
give
hot
Joe the
deuce at you?
benefit of the doubt that he did not poop in his own hand. Just to
that
throw
would
it
be
at
so
me.
premeditated. He would have to have like really planned that out, like
So-
eaten at the right time and stuff. That's too hard.
I had to actually spend a couple of months learning how to be a gorilla. When Tarzan the musical went up on Broadway, it came down to me and another individual, infinitely talented singer and performer, Josh Strickland, who ended up actually winning the role of Tarzan. I didn't get it, but
You look like him today, though.
I had to go. Yeah. Hey, why not?
Scott's wearing a tank top and he has huge arms.
He's got
Go ahead.
guns.
Sun's out, guns out, baby. It's summertime. No, we'll talk more about this shirt later. I cut the sleeves off a long time ago. If I had one of these with sleeves on it, I would have it on.
You guys, there's a whole section coming about Scott's arms.
I
Don't
broke
worry, we'll
the
talk
rule.
about
No,
I'm
about
sorry.
the shirt, not the.
We know why you wore the shirt. You don't wear that shirt not to like talk about your arms.
I'm going to talk about it.
How much can you curl?
They're huge.
Okay, long story short, too late. While auditioning for the role of Tarzan, which was like a 7-month-long process, we had to learn how to do bungee work because there's a lot of jumping into trees and out of trees and leaping all over the place. The people that did De La Guardia, which is this really cool
that was
show
crazy.
in New York, award-winning
There's a naked
show.
guy who swings and he's naked and his
Yeah.
butt's out and he like slaps you and stuff. It's wild.
Yep, sun's out, butts out. So they taught me,
Could have
maybe
said buns.
buns.
Oh yeah,
Damn.
good one.
Yeah, this
You
is
really,
why
that was
better.
low hanging fruit. And you,
This
But
is
then
why
we
I'm
had
here,
an actual zoologist come in and teach us the ins and outs of actually how
sorry,
how
ins and outs. It just all comes back to poop.
gorillas move. And cut to the final audition. No shirt on, just shorts in a room with Phil Collins at the piano. I'm literally
my
singing
God.
with Phil Collins because it's all his music. And
Oh, it's the
auditioning
best
for
album.
the producers of Disney Theatrical's Tarzan on Broadway. And I had to learn how to be a gorilla. I had to practice for months.
I just wish the story
That
had a
album
happy
is so
ending.
good.
Well, I did get offered lead ensemble and lead understudy for both The Hunter and for Tarzan.
Which is huge.
And then I said I wanted to try my hand at pilot season that year, which was
And here
a
we are
very
not talking
important
about
pilot
it.
season.
Yeah.
And here we
because
are not
something
talking
happened.
about it. Wait, I have a question. When you sang, was it the one that's like, "You'll be in my heart"?
Yeah, there was a couple
Yes,
of
you'll
them.
be in my heart. That album is lit. I'm
gotta
not
listen
even
to
kidding.
it.
Come stop your crying, it'll be all right. Just take my hand. I think we get demonetized if I sing anymore, so I think you have to
But
have
Lord
like
above, that
license
was
or
beautiful.
whatever.
You got the voice of an angel, my friend.
Yeah, but it was an awesome experience, and I will cherish it forever. But yeah, I had to learn how
Oh.
to be a gorilla too. So you
There
and
you
I
go.
both throwing
Let's
dookies
go.
around.
I
and-
can transition into my
Pounding our chest.
not football now
Love it.
because
Yeah.
you sang, and I can't wait to talk about mine, which we all know what it is, which is that I went to Taylor Swift.
So wait. So if this week wasn't only about football for you, it was about the biggest
Well, like-
concert that has ever happened ever.
Yeah, I mean, look, every week is about Taylor Swift week for me. It's like if it's between football and Taylor Swift, it's definitely
Wait,
only
but wasn't
Taylor
the show
Swift.
at a football stadium?
Yes, I think. I don't know. It's sports. It
Full
was a
circle.
big area. It was a big old area where everybody was sitting.
Was
Whatever
that
they're
SoFi?
doing over there, I don't
SoFi
know.
Stadium.
Yeah.
But it was so insane, y'all. I had the time of my life. I was like, I can't even believe I'm like 170 years old and I can still go and be having the time of my life. I was like, something I really admire about her is that she's so good at writing and like growing with her writing. Like I feel like a lot of artists, as they like get older or go through different experiences, it's harder to be like, my kids in the diaper in the room, you know what I mean? It's a little bit less like deep, like intense emotional things. And I feel like she's so good at like being able to go through and like capture the deeper things at each age. Like, I mean, she's like retained me as a fan for like 20 years or whatever. And I've like grown with her. And it's just it was so good. Every second of it was like, I danced so much for like, she plays for like 3.5 hours straight. Like, you're just like, how are you doing this? It's nonstop. And I was like, I need to go to the hospital after just standing there for 3
gotta
hours.
get
I don't know
some
how she does that.
Hydration. You gotta get
Liquid
hydrated.
IV in you.
Yeah.
You're
Well,
right.
I was actually talking about this
Yeah.
last night because all weekend, one of the radio stations here in LA, they changed their name to like Swift FM or something. And I was
Tight.
thinking, and I don't know if you remember from when we were kids, we're closer to the same age, or maybe even when you were a kid, what other concert was like, this is the biggest thing in the world? Like Taylor Swift's in town. The closest I could come to is like if Michael Jackson was performing. Like what band or what singer is like, the
All I
whole
can think
town
of is
is
like
whoa.
Jingle Ball or like, I mean,
Jingle
not
Ball.
even Warped Tour, God bless. But remember
Justin
Jingle Ball was like
Timberlake
the Kiss
Jay-Z
FM thing?
tour.
No.
Suit
Well,
and tie.
Beyonce obviously is huge right
Beyonce,
now, which
my
I
wife,
also want to go.
My wife, I think, had the same experience at Beyonce that you had at Taylor
Yes.
Swift. Like out of body, can't help but move, and you just are like on your feet the entire time.
God, I want to go. She's so cool.
But I mean,
But yes.
No, there's just not a lot of them. It's pretty. I think it's impressive.
Yeah, it's massive.
and her staying
It's
power is
huge.
incredible too, because I think like her first song hit when you and I had just moved to Austin. Like it's that
Yeah.
long
Swift?
ago. Mm-hmm.
Really.
Yeah.
Also, not
it's
to
been
be
that long
rude,
that she's
but
been doing
someone
music.
here, two truths and a lie, just kidding, but someone in this fake waiting room, digital waiting room, was in a Taylor Swift music video. And I think
was.
kissed her on the mouth.
Whoa.
I don't remember.
Didn't you?
I don't know. I'd have
I
to go
think
back
so.
and watch it. She was super nice, super sweet.
Yeah.
But this is before
She's the
like
best.
exchanging numbers. So man, could have gotten tickets.
Can't you just like, it's so
just
exciting
slide
the fact
into her
that you have
DMs.
that.
You said earlier, you if it's a choice of like football or Taylor Swift, it's always going to be Taylor Swift. You know who unexpectedly has that same difficult dilemma in their life is my
Taylor Kitsch?
father-in-law. Born and raised in Texas, he loves Taylor Swift. He's a father of 3 daughters, absolutely loves Taylor Swift. I mean, he's Texas born and bred. He's a Longhorn and a Cowboy all the way, but he loves
Brilliant.
Taylor Swift. And I was at a game night one night, and Taylor Swift happened to be there. My son was newborn, right? And we were in the middle of a game, and
profile.
my wife and I were both playing, but we had him with us, and he, to bring up crap again, he crapped his pants, and we were like, okay, we got to change him. And Taylor was like,
Don't
do you
say
want me to
crap.
change his diaper? Do you want me? I mean, I've not really changed a diaper, but I can help you and change the diaper. I was like,
That's
oh my
a
God,
weird offer.
Taylor Swift is like,
No, that's awesome.
So
No, it's nice,
sweet.
but I've never changed a diaper. Let me just jump in
And
right
then we
now.
told-
with
You
the
just
Stranger's
can't
baby.
accept help. You have a problem.
No, I don't want help. I do it. You know, if you
You-
want
yeah,
something
you
done
have a
right, you
walls
do it
up.
yourself.
And then,
Tear them down.
I don't trust anyone else to change my child's diaper.
yeah,
Oh my
I mean, I don't
God.
either. I'm proud of the diapering that I've done in my life.
Yeah, this is going off the deep
that being
end.
Here's your
said-
big awards.
But that being said, we got to talk to her. I mean, that was kind of like our first conversation. She was like, "Do you need help? Can I help you?"
She's so
And we were
cool.
like, "Hey, my father-in-law, he absolutely adores you. He thinks you're awesome." And she's like, "Oh, hold on a minute." And she comes back and she gave us for him a guitar pick that she had
Come
used
on.
on stage, and she signed the back of it. And now my father-in-law is the proud owner of a Taylor Swift signed guitar pick from an actual concert.
That's a tiny
The
signature.
woman is so
years ago.
cool. She's
Yeah.
so cool.
Well, this
I
is
swear.
actually, I think, a great segue.
Hey, whoa. I didn't
What?
get my It's Not Only
It was
Football.
Tarzan. How many do you
No,
need?
That was you,
Oh,
Gorilla.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
If this week was not only football,
Oh God.
it is actually football, but not the football we play here in the United States. No, this week is about the Women's World Cup, which if you are not watching it, I would first of all understand here in the States because it's in Australia, so literally the games are on at 1 a.m., 3 a.m. But it has been an incredible tournament. I'm very solidly pulling for 3 teams. 2 of them just lost the last couple of days. Unfortunately, the U.S. went out in a heartbreaker against Sweden, and Denmark just lost today as well. So rip to those 2 teams' chances at the World Cup Championship. But my other favorite, Japan, is still in it, and they are looking fantastic. I lived for a year in Japan, so fell in love with that nation. I'm
Cool.
pulling for them. But yeah, Denmark lost today to the Matildas, the Australian national team.
Why did
And,
you live there?
I lived there because I worked for Tokyo Disneyland for a year singing. I played Pierre, the leader of the Mardi Gras festivities. It was me and 25 Japanese performers. I was the only gaijin, as they say, the only foreigner in the show. We also had King Louis and Donald Duck and Sebastian. And man, it was a
Quite the
heck of a
group.
show. It was awesome. It was outside.
Another A-list event.
Well,
First
the guy
it's
that
Taylor Game
performed on
Night,
that
then
stage
it's
before me was
Donald
Tay
Duck.
Diggs. There was a lot of craziness.
huge.
Like a lot of people went through Tokyo Disneyland. So
Speaking of the World
Sounds
Cup,
fun.
I have
Yeah.
a question. So yesterday I'm sitting around with some friends, and one of them said, "Hey, Gil, have you been watching the World Cup?" And I go, "No, but I guess Sweden just beat the U.S." She goes, "We haven't watched it yet. Why did you ruin it?" I was like, "You don't. You need
you
to."
don't ask somebody if they've
They've
watched something.
Okay, so I'm not. This is you know what? This is a great game. We should bring it in. I'm stealing it from another
Hate
podcast called
Spoilers.
Sinisterhood,
I'm fuming.
but it's called "Am I the Asshole?"
Oh,
And so
okay.
Yes.
we can let's think of some, and we'll do them in another episode. But where you come in with a situation where a lot of people think maybe you're an asshole, but you're like, "I'm not the asshole. You're the asshole." So right there, I was not the asshole.
I think you were only because I have a big problem that is totally unfair. I acknowledge that I'm the asshole in my bias, but I'm like the concept of like a spoiler to me is like I can't. It actually makes me so upset. And even if it's like okay, yeah, it was a setup, whatever, but it's like I can't. I am flying into like a blind rage because I'm like all I have in this life is like the Bachelorette, and I'm like if somebody says some shit, anything. I'm like, I don't even, my best friend Miles and I, if he sees something and he says, I saw something, I can look in his eyes and know what it is. We can't even look at each other when we talk about the fact that if we've seen something.
But if I'm
because
in
we
that
can
situation,
read.
like say it's like Survivor, I'd be like, "Hey, don't say anything. I'm not up to date. But do you watch Survivor?"
Right. Yeah, it would have been great.
We're both big
I'm-
Survivor fans. We protect ourselves. Look, people cannot
I think you're an
believe-
asshole anyway, so it doesn't count.
Well,
like
no,
no
it's
matter
fine.
what you do. You know what I'm saying?
People can't believe that I stay as spoiler free as I stay. Like I legit don't know the plot of movies. I don't watch trailers. If there's a movie that I'm really excited about, I will
Yes,
turn the
bro.
channel. I will not watch a trailer.
Same.
I know.
Agreed.
And when I talk about Survivor on social media, I always hashtag Survivor, hashtag spoiler in all capital letters so everybody
You
knows,
must.
hey, read further at your own risk.
Yeah.
But you're not the asshole in that situation.
No.
Because to be the asshole in that situation, you have to walk into a room full of people and go, "Did you guys hear that U.S. just lost to Sweden on penalty kicks?" Which, by the way,
Well-
I guess spoiler's a little late.
Well,
But,
this
it
is going to
stays
be
later.
a week later.
But if you have not watched it, why would you
I know.
invite a spoiler? the other person
It's bad.
invited it.
Yeah, that's on
whoever your
Audrey.
friend was
Yeah,
like,
you know what?
I guess
Audrey's
maybe
an
she was
asshole.
expecting a yeah.
You're
Maybe
you're
she
here
thought you would
first,
just be
Audrey
like,
Milstein. You're an asshole.
wow, first and
know
last
what?
name.
This reminds me of the fact that, okay, I'm going to say a Harry Potter spoiler. So
Ooh.
if you haven't and you don't and you have it, you better mute it, turn it.
Yeah, skip
I'm not
45 ahead or
responsible for
something.
this. Skip 45 ahead. I had a friend who in high school got the worst thing ever in her entire life and was carrying around her very first Harry Potter book and was walking down the hall, and the school bully came up to her and went, "Hey, guess what? Dumbledore dies." And it like ruined her life. It's like still a huge thing
ruined
that
her
is like the most egregious offense you could ever do. So like, I hope nobody heard that if you haven't read it. Also, like, come on, guys, it's been like 190 years, but
Yeah,
still.
but remember, like, I'm very protective. My son is 8, and we watched a very classic sci-fi, series of films. We've watched the very first one, which happens to be episode 4. Go figure. We haven't watched the one that follows yet, and something very big happens. You find out a relationship, and I have been so protective of trying to keep McCoy from learning that these two characters are in fact related. He does not know yet, but when you say, yeah, but this spoiler's 100 years old, it's not for everybody.
Totally.
If it's an 8-year-old kid, he's never seen it
I've never
before.
seen any of that whole Enterprise. So
Right,
I don't
but you've
have any
heard
idea
the-
what you're
It doesn't
talking
actually
about.
have the Enterprise in it. I'm talking about the
Good
other
job, though.
sci-fi movie
Yeah,
series.
the other
Ooh,
thing, but that was
ba-dum-dum,
funny.
tsh. How about
That's like
that?
my dad, who again, I'm like, if everyone who was involved in the film is dead, or
Scott,
not allowed to
sorry,
talk about
man.
it, but
I'm so
still,
sorry. I gotta cut
like-
you off real quick. Scott's just over here giggling about whatever joke he just made that I didn't even know was. I don't know what he's
He
playing
just
drums or
flattened
something,
over.
and he's still laughing.
He's red. Look at him. What was
I
it?
said a sci-fi series. He said whatever Enterprise, and I said the series doesn't have the Enterprise in it. Ba-dum-dum, tsh. Never mind. Yeah, I can't.
Well, yeah.
I can't even explain the joke.
I
Let's
liked
move
your dad
on.
jokes last
Everybody
week
gets
better.
it. It was good. There's two.
There is one thing all great teams, coaches, players, even podcasters like me have in common, and that is preparation. Planning is key in everyday life, too, and a great way to be prepared for the unexpected is to join Air Medcare Network, America's largest air ambulance membership network. Air Medcare Network providers operate state-of-the-art helicopters capable of responding to critically ill or injured patients in need of emergency medical transport. But when you're an AMCN member, you won't see a bill for your flight only when flown by one of their providers. That's right, you pay nothing, zero. Join Air Medcare Network's more than 3 million members. It's just $99 per year. And right now, our listeners get up to an $80 MasterCard or Amazon e-gift card when they join and use offer code FNL. That almost pays for the whole first year. Make sure the Air Medcare Network team is protecting your family and your finances. Visit airmedcarenetwork.com/FNL today. That's airmedcarenetwork.com/FNL.
It's Not Only Football. Friday Night Lights and Beyond is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Most of you listening right now are probably multitasking. Yep. While you're listening to us talk, you're probably also driving or cleaning or exercising, maybe even grocery shopping. But if you're not in some kind of moving vehicle, there's something else you could be doing right now. Getting an auto quote from Progressive Insurance. It's easy, and you can save money by doing it right now from your phone. Drivers who save by switching to Progressive save nearly $700 on average, and auto customers qualify for an average of 7 discounts. Discounts for having multiple vehicles on your policy, being a homeowner, and a lot more. So, just like your favorite podcast, hopefully us, Progressive will be with you 24/7, 365 days a year, so you are protected no matter what. Multitask right now. Quote your car insurance at Progressive.com to join the over 29 million drivers who trust Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $698 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2021 and May 2022. Potential savings will vary. Discounts not available in all states and situations.
Anyway, man, I'm so sorry I cut you off. Go ahead.
It really doesn't matter except for the fact that my dad does this thing that because he thinks every single person has seen this movie that a very famous old person in the old days has a line about let's just say the word rosebud is involved.
Oh, yeah.
And like
Rosebud.
my dad thinks it's hilarious. Yeah, my dad thinks it's hilarious to say what rosebud is. And I'm like, some day you're gonna meet some
No.
little film school nerd
Mhm.
who's gonna be like, how could you? It's like you can't know the fact that just because it's the most
the
famous
sled.
thing,
It's the sled.
It's the sled.
Yeah.
Zach,
What?
Zach.
Oh, that's the most
what the
overrated
fuck is wrong
movie
with
ever.
you?
Oh my
Don't
God.
bother.
It
Hey,
doesn't
I'm gonna
matter.
spoil it and save you 3 hours of your life.
I was wrong. You are the asshole.
You're the fucking asshole.
No, I'm
Thank
actually
you.
the hero. I'm the
I rest my
anti-hero. It
case.
gets exhausting. He's rooting for me.
All right.
But there you go.
You're
All
such a
right, so-
narcissist. You don't get to choose.
We've boarded the boat. Let's take this thing out to sea. Cruise director
Okay, so
Zach,
here
where
was
we
my
going?
segue was going to be. We were talking about how scary it would be to have like an uber famous pop star offer to change your kid's diaper when she's never changed one before. In lieu of that, what is the scariest moment of your life?
I think we covered mine last week.
Almost drowning?
trying to doggy
Okay.
paddle out to an island.
That was it? That was yours?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay. I didn't mean that was it. I wasn't belittling.
I mean, literally, that moment when I'm looking up and I'm reaching towards the surface of the lake and the water, like, covers my hand as I'm still I'm sinking.
How'd you get saved?
My cousin Helena was a lifeguard and she saved me.
Jesus.
She came out and she grabbed me and she got me back to shore. I was 8, and she is a hero in every
Thank you,
sense
Helena.
of the word. So yeah.
Did you
thank
get rushed away in the river? Is that what happened?
No, it was a lake. It was a lake, but all my cousins could swim like fish, and they swam out to an island in the middle of this lake, and I tried to go with them, and I couldn't make it. And when I started to get tired, I kind of panicked and forgot everything that I had learned about swimming. You know, my parents had taken me to classes, and they were coming after me as well. It's just my cousin got to me first. I mean, I wasn't going to, they saved me. I think I was always going to be saved, but still, I didn't know that in the moment. So scariest moment in my life. Yeah, still.
So wait, I'm gonna dig a little deeper here.
No, I don't. Why do we have to do this?
No, it's
Because it's the psychology section.
well, no.
It's
So
all
I
in
know
the
about the
paperwork.
going off of bridges and all that, but
Yeah.
are you scared of swimming now?
No. All of that stuff. I think.
What about in lakes? You can swim in a lake?
Yeah, I could swim in a lake. I know how to swim.
Can you swim in a pond?
I mean,
Ew. No one can swim in a pond.
yes.
mustn't.
You
It's
can
disgusting.
swim in a pond. You mustn't.
You could, but it's disgusting.
There's probably gonna be a lot
pond
of
is
frogs
like
in there.
Okay. Do you swim in
an
rivers?
algae and bugs. Love rivers.
Okay. Love rivers. Okay. Yeah.
Love
we talked
rivers.
about
It's clean
hypothermia
water.
last
It's
week. You
rushing.
love the coldest. If you could sit in the
The
middle of those
coldest,
salmon
whatever.
rivers, you'd do it.
That's
Right.
my boy.
Okay.
I
But
actually,
a pond is like not meant for swimming, right? It's like a algae, like fish.
well, it depends
bug
on how big the pond is.
zone.
Yeah.
I grew up in the Midwest. There's a lot of ponds you can swim in.
Yeah, it is getting
Mm.
warmer, and there is more bacteria now. But get into a middle of a pond, sure. A little brook, a
Mhm.
creek, a stream. Yeah, I'm all
It's the
about
getting
it.
there, baby.
All about it.
It's the getting
I'm
there.
more scared of the big ocean. That's the thing I'm
Really?
the most scared
Because
of.
shark?
Undertow, man.
Oh, here's the deal. Life
Oh.
lesson for you guys. I like to call this section "Life Lessons with Gilly."
Oh,
Be-do-do-do-do. That was the life lesson song.
So when you're swimming in the ocean,
Gilford.
and if you kind of get like tossed in a wave and the undertow's getting you, it's actually better to just kind of relax, let it
Duh.
toss you around a little bit, and it will spit you back up, and then you can swim in. If you fight it and
Yeah.
everything, you're probably gonna swallow some water, exhaust yourself, and
Well,
that's when
and you
the
get
scary stuff
tired. Yeah,
happens.
that's the classic bit is like if you're getting swept, you let the undertow take you and it'll eventually suck you up to the surface and then spit you out back on the land. But because you don't
It
want to get
doesn't
tired
just-
out there
It doesn't deposit you like an animated film
No,
back
not
onto
like-
shore. I mean,
No.
it's not like
with little ocean hands.
yeah,
like
little
placing
ocean
you out there.
hands just deliver you like a baby back to the beach.
It would be so nice.
You don't
though.
know.
Thanks for letting us
Maybe.
pull you under. Here you go. No,
Maybe
yeah.
Ariel will scoop you, just
No,
like in the movie
is
that I saw that I
The
love.
ocean is very scary to a kid from Nebraska, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, it's big. I
Mhm.
mean, you guys got to be respected. That's for sure.
Yeah.
That's the number one thing. You don't turn your back on it. You don't disrespect it. You always realize the ocean is the boss. The
Yes.
planet, the Mother Earth is the
Yes.
boss. You are just lucky to be here, so you better respect that shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I
Even
do.
Wonder Woman calls Gaia the Queen Mother. Like,
Who's Gaia?
she's
Yeah.
a superhero. Gaia.
Gaia
Earth.
is like
No,
it's like the Mother
the
Earth.
whole- I'm a nerd, man.
No, you're not. I'm
Once
trying to
once
learn
we
you.
got off
Me
of
too.
talking about
You're
the show
just
that we talk
uncultured.
about, I'm just going to talk about nerdy shit a lot. So I apologize
No,
to
that's
everyone.
fine.
out
Gaia
there.
is a channel also that I
Yes.
subscribe to.
Oh,
so
yeah, it's like
fuck
a
you
yoga
guys.
thing.
Is it?
Yes, there's yoga vids.
Sure.
Yeah.
Man,
I
what
have a
was the
Gaia ball.
scariest moment of your life?
My scariest?
Mm-hmm.
I bet yours was like
My
extracurricular, not extracurricular,
nice, good job. You could have used some
extraterrestrial,
extracurriculars. Apparently,
or like ghosts or something like that.
I'm like not. I mean, I would love it if a ghost didn't right now with me, but I'm not like I'm not that scared because I'm sort of like, okay, if a ghost like, feels the need to be all, I think I'll be able to be like, please, like, I don't want to do that right now. You know what I mean? Or I'll be able to be like, what do you need? I'm not like as afraid of that. I would love it if they weren't like floating over my head while I'm sleeping or whatever, but like I'm not that scared of a ghost situation. I'm more scared of people than I am of ghosts. Jesus Christ. But like, I would say the scariest moment of my life is I did one time have like a flash of thinking that I saw a demon, which wasn't great, but I dealt with it. I think the scariest time was when my grandmother almost died at the New Year's Eve dinner that we were having by choking.
Oh my
And we
gosh.
all like panicked, and it was like 15 of us like panicking, and it was snowy outside, and the ambulance couldn't get there. And thank God, and my cousin's husband, Keenan, like jumped up and went and like gave her the Heimlich maneuver and basically saved her, but she was like in a coma for like 11 days. Like, and so we were just like, and they were like, she didn't have oxygen for a long time. It could be bad. She may not ever. And like 11 days later, she like shot up and was like, get me out of here. I'm fine. I don't want this anymore. Excuse me. And like left and was totally fine. She's like the most badass woman on the planet. She like is just, but that was like really one of you definitely like have when something like that happens, everybody's shit is like completely stripped away, and you go
Mhm.
from being like the cozy to being like everybody's panic mode, like some people are crying, some people are like aggressively trying to do stuff, some people are frozen, some people are like, I was like, screaming into the phone at the 911 like I'm very much like I'm in action now, like probably in like a really annoying way, but I try to like jump into the action. What about you? What's your like panic like response?
Everything slows down for me. Like
Mm,
I kind of
I
like
can
go
see
into
that.
uber focus mode,
Hmm.
and everything seems a little slow motion, which is boded well for me.
Yeah,
But yeah, that's kind of my
I can see
reaction.
that.
Have you had any like crazy like rock climbing stuff? Like anything like
Yeah.
when you're out in the wilderness and it's just you and nature?
Yeah,
Like
what's the
I imagine that
scariest?
is.
Oh,
Did you
I,
see a bear?
I've been charged twice by bears.
What?
And your favorite football team is still the Chicago Bears?
It's my favorite animal. I love bears. They're magical.
Gotta respect him. Can you tell me what the you're talking about?
So one time I was in Yosemite. So I'll try not to regale you too long. This was literally the craziest day of my life. So there were 3 leaders on this trip, and we had I think like 16 kids, and we had climbed Half Dome, which is like this really cool
So
peak in
cool.
Yosemite. And once we got up there, one of our kids was asthmatic, and she went into an asthma attack. So we gave her an inhaler, and it wasn't working. We had a nebulizer, which we gave her, and it kind of got to the point where we weren't going to be able to get her down fast enough. We weren't sure if this was going to work, so we got our sat phone out and we called in a helicopter. So because we were like, we can't risk this, just hope it gets better. So a helicopter flies in, lands on top of Half Dome. We put her in the stretcher. One of my co-leaders gets into the helicopter with her, and they just like fly away. So then
Holy shit.
we're on top of this mountain. We're like, well, we got to get back down to camp. And we get down, and our bear canisters were all like knocked around, which is like they look like basically like 1.5 foot sized kegs. They're made of plastic. You put your food in it so the bears can't eat it, but they'll still knock them around and throw them around. So we like open them up, and like most of our food is ruined. And we can get through dinner, but we're not going to be able to like have breakfast in the morning. So luckily,
Jesus.
my co-leader that's left is a marathon runner, and she goes, "I'll run down to Yosemite Village, which is a 12-mile run, and I'll get some more food, and you hang out with the kids, and maybe I'll get back tonight or tomorrow morning." And I was like,
Oh my God.
"Okay, cool." So then I'm there, I'm getting dinner ready, and I'm sitting around like our camping stove, cooking, and there's 4 kids on the opposite side of it, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, yeah, so when you're making a quesadilla, you gotta like wait for the cheese to melt, and then you fold it, and then you flip it, and then behind them, I
I love that your job is showing how to make a quesadilla.
Well, you gotta
Meanwhile, your partner is
She's,
running
like,
4-minute
running.
miles,
I don't run
12 miles
marathons. I
down
did
a
run one.
mountain on a helicopter with a young traveler strapped to a stretcher. And Zach's like, so here's how we open the can of
Like,
beans.
the secret is butter on the quesadilla.
Yeah.
Makes it even crunchier.
Yeah, just a little butter in there. It really gives it like a snap. Anyway, so as I'm folding the quesadilla, I look up, and behind the kids, about, I don't know, 20, 25 feet away, I see a huge like bear pop out from behind a tree. And I say, oh, fuck. And all the kids are like, what? He said, fuck. And I was like, get behind me now. They're like, huh? I'm like, get behind me now. So they all run behind me. And what you do when you see a bear is you make yourself big, and you say, like,
depending
hey,
on
bear.
the bear, right?
No, with all bears. You
All
never
bears?
run. Because they're fight or flight. If you run, they think they're supposed to chase you.
Oh.
So you want to
Right.
just let
Classic.
it know
And
you're
they're
there.
fast.
Yeah, and you're not really trying to scare it. Just let it know, like, hey, I'm here and I'm big. Like, I don't mean
I'm
you any
big, I'm
harm.
gonna do
So we're like, hey,
this.
bear. And I'm like, you make noise. And the kids are like banging on the pots and pans. One of them pulls out its Swiss Army knife. And I'm like, that's not going to do anything. Just say, hey, bear, really loud. And so then it's like stalking towards us. And as it gets about 10 feet away, it charges. And they do these
Oh
things
my
that are
God.
they're bluff charges to try and scare you. Although, like I had just said, if you run, it thinks it's supposed to chase you. So you have to
Right.
stand your ground. It stopped
Oh.
literally like maybe a foot from my chest. I could feel its breath
Zach.
on me. I could smell it. And I just had to be like, hey, bear. And
No,
like
you did
slowly
not.
back the group of kids away from the bear until it decided we were far enough away, and it went and ate my quesadilla there. And I got the kids away.
It's like, is there butter on this?
Yeah,
Is
he's
it
like, you
delicious?
forgot the butter, bro.
Oh, man.
But-
See, going
Bro,
camping
that
when
is
I was young,
insane.
I always heard the phrase, like, if it's black, yell back. If it's brown, lay down. Like, that was like...
That's
it's
like if they're like attacking you because brown laid down, they will tend to like drag you somewhere and then come back for you later. So once it like
Oh
leaves you, then you
my-
can get up and run away.
Oh, my gosh.
Black bears don't do that.
Oh, my God. I just went through such a journey.
Bro,
Just
that I
emotionally
can't believe it's
listening to
taken
the story.
40-something episodes and multiple years of friendship to just have learned that you've stood in front of a bear.
Well,
my
being
God.
like,
you know,
hey, bear.
there's a lot going on behind this tiger
I
sweatshirt.
guess you're not an asshole sometimes.
Sometimes.
See, camping in
Sometimes when
Nebraska
you're saving
isn't as dangerous, I guess, as camping on top of Half Dome and like in Yosemite.
Do you, Zach, if you
Like-
had to face down a bear or an alligator or a crocodile, whatever's the one that bites you and spins around, what would you think is the scarier thing?
Oh, I'd be terrified of a crocodile.
Crocodiles are.
So scary, right? And they're
Ugh.
fast and they're scary.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, going to high school and college in Florida, they are everywhere, and they make a
can't.
sound like a truck. Like it.
What?
Alligators in Florida, when they growl, it sounds like a massive truck starting. It's like this, like this, like, and you're like, oh my God, and you see their whole necks expand.
Ew.
I did another show where I had to, in the pilot episode of this other show, actually work with live alligators. And it was
Nope.
a very, very
No,
funny
thank you.
experience.
That might be the scariest animal to
Yeah.
me because the shark, God bless, but you can give them a little punch in the nose, right, or the eye, and they usually are like, ouch.
That's what they claim, although
That's
I
what
don't
they
know how much
claim.
like force you can get underwater.
Here's
Well,
what
it's your foot, no?
Well, it slows
I
you
guess if your
down, you know?
foot's in its mouth. Yeah.
Yeah, if your foot's in its mouth, you're in trouble.
This disclaimer to all of our listeners: go and do your own research with certified experts. I mean, or
Yeah,
listen
we
to
don't know
Zach.
what we're talking about.
But yeah, don't trust the It's Not Only Football crew to save you from a shark.
Don't listen to
or a
actors.
bear.
We can't
Just
do
yeah.
literally
throw
anything.
that
Just be bear aware.
out
Just,
there.
you know,
Just-
practice good
We
bear
know
safety.
like
Just be
2%
bear
about everything, and then nothing.
Yeah, you gotta be aware of the bears.
The other part of like
Ew.
the emotional, I haven't eaten all day,
Oh,
and
no.
when you started talking about
Ooh.
like cooking at the campsite, man, I'm hungry, and it took me
Mm.
back to a time. You ever get hungry, or like you hear a story, and you there's like sensory food memories that happen.
Yeah, truck cakes last week.
Truck cakes. My
Love
dad.
truck cake.
My dad's favorite thing to do over an open flame is to take a potato and thick slice it, and then take an onion and thick slice it, and put the pieces of the onion in between the potato and throw some butter on top, wrap it tight in aluminum foil, and just put it over the fire for a while. And when it comes out, it's the most delicious thing. Butter,
great.
onion, potato. Very simple. Oh my God.
It makes me
Very
want to growl like
delicious.
an alligator. I'm like,
I just need. How long is a while?
What? Oh, like over an hour. I mean, if you bake
Oh,
a
come
potato,
on.
you throw it
Who's
in the
got
oven.
that kind of prep time?
If you're
Well,
camping,
if-
there ain't shit else to do, bud.
why don't you make a salad before? It's fine.
Have some
like,
patience.
chill.
Love nature. Be out
Eat a
there, man.
cucumber.
It sounds delicious. I don't know if I have an hour.
I like a pancake. This is why the truck cake is what's up, because
Yeah.
you just dump it in the thing and you flip it, and you're done.
Boom.
Boom.
Well, speaking of
know what I
not having an hour, what's next on this cruise itinerary?
Well, I think this could be a little bit of fun before we, dock it up.
Ooh, I'm excited.
Do you guys have a most embarrassing moment?
Man, do I? Do I?
Did we cut the one
for
that I
it.
was
You go
there
first.
that I was privy to
What?
at the Cowboy game?
No.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
I
everyone
hope
knows
not,
that
'cause
one.
that's the
Yes,
funniest
that's
thing
why I
I've
said do I. Actually, not a lot of people knew about that. Look, I have
That
plenty
you
of
pooped your pants?
I have plenty of
Well,
embarrassing
Yeah, I would hope not.
stories. Yeah, only you, but now the world. Thank
Yeah,
you, Zach.
You're welcome.
Cheers to that. No, I think my favorite embarrassment story is actually me embarrassing my mom. When I was in kindergarten, the school that I was going to in Nebraska, Fontanelle Elementary, they were doing like a school-wide musical, and I was on stage like singing with everybody, and I had like a little solo, and I did my little solo, and then I had to go poop. I was like, 5 years old, and I went into the bathroom, which was, this wasn't a theater. This was the cafeteria / multi-purpose room that had a stage at one end of it. Very, very normal in schools. And I went into the bathroom, and I'm going to the bathroom, and then I just start singing, and I'm singing Michael Jackson's "Beat It" in the bathroom.
Not a good idea.
And they're singing on stage, and then they finish the song, and you hear a little voice because the restroom it's in the multi-purpose room basically, and you just hear a little 5-year-old boy singing Michael Jackson in the bathroom.
Singing
to which,
Beat It.
Yeah.
Man.
Beat it, beat it. My mom had to stand up and walk across the entire cafeteria multi-purpose room to the bathroom and come in and get me and then walk us back out and take me back to the stage.
No.
And yes,
It's not that bad.
yeah, unfortunate for my mom. Very embarrassing for her. Not for me. I didn't know any better.
No.
You sing in the bathroom. There's good acoustics in there,
Your
man.
mom was just ashamed of
Hell
you.
yeah.
She wasn't
No, I'm
ashamed.
kidding. You said she was embarrassed.
I've got plenty of like big embarrassing moments, but I mean, it's all tied.
I
Most of them are
like- I
tied to
wanna hear
auditions,
more.
so maybe
Hey guys,
yeah,
sorry, I
auditions.
just woke up from being a still picture. Here I am. I was just frozen. My bad.
No, I mean I've got plenty of embarrassing stories. A lot of them are tied to auditions for different projects, so I guess stories for another time. But that's the one that I I tell the story of the most. That's to me very.
That's a cute one. I like that one.
It's
It
very
is
fun.
cute.
It's
Yeah.
very fun.
May, do you have one?
What's yours? No, I want you to
Mine-
go.
I mean, feels like a classic. It almost feels like it's out of a movie. But I was at summer camp, and I was a kid. And this is back in the day when wearing like basketball shorts was cool, like mesh shorts. And it's lunchtime or something. And there's this rule where like if you kill it, you fill it. So say it's pancakes. If you take the last pancake, you got to go up to the window and get more pancakes for the whole table, which is your cabin. And I, without thinking, took the last, just call it a pancake. And my buddy Gabe goes, "You killed it. You got to fill it." I was like, "Oh, will you go get it?" And he's like, "No, dude, you killed it. You got to fill it." And I was like, "Gabe, come on, man." And he was like, "Ah." And I was like, "No, dude, no." He's like, "You got to fill it. You got to fill it. You and your boner got to go fill it."
What?
Well, come on. You hear basketball shorts.
Yeah, I
that's the
know.
first
So
thing
he
you
made me
think
like
of.
get up and walk across the lunchroom, and like I'm like trying to hide my very large boner, and get across without anyone noticing. And there was a lot of like trying to tuck it under waistbands and stuff like that, and like hunch over so my shirt's like hanging over that part of my shorts. Some people definitely noticed, but that was the most embarrassing moment of my life.
Okay.
That's iconic.
Okay. So
It's really.
here's the deal. Last week, so Zach is a very tall tale teller. I never know if this story is Zach's or if this is somebody else's story. First
This
of all,
is 100%
just
my
just
story.
sit there for a couple more minutes. Just hang out. Just hang out
No, dude, you kill it. You got to fill it.
in 3 minutes
Yeah,
Gabe wasn't having
immediately.
it.
Why
when the
can't you
breeze
just be
settles
like, I'll
down
fill
or
it,
whatever
I'll fill
excites a
it.
Well,
teenage
you
boy
got to
goes
remember,
away.
I wasn't a teenager. I was like 9. Like, logic isn't your best resource when you're 9 and you have a boner. You're just terrified.
But last week you told the story of you going to Scotland and this guy saying this thing. I've heard that story so many other places.
Well, that was a joke.
okay. Just making
This
sure.
is a story.
Just you know,
That sounds
here-
like a
here's the
tagline
deal.
for
Here's
something
the
I don't
deal.
want to watch.
Here's another story that Zach likes to tell. And I've mentioned this on our podcast, actually. When we were on the initial press tour for the show we can't talk about, somebody asked, hey, how did you get into acting? And Zach's story was, well, I played football. You know, I'm from Chicago, like played football. And then I got hit really hard and I got hurt. And then, you know, I joined, you know, because I couldn't play. I was like, I'll join theater in the meantime. And I was like, whoa, this is actually pretty sick. Like, you know, I'm one of the only dudes here. This is awesome. Like, yeah. And that was my whole thing, right? And so that was the story I heard for years. And then we were at a different press event and somebody asked him, hey, how did you get your start? And he was like, well, I played baseball a lot when I was growing up. I was a baseball player. And I slid into first, which you should never do. And then I jacked up my knee. And then I was like, hey, you know, maybe I'll just join the theater company. And I was like, which one is it?
Well,
I
it's a
don't
baseball
know.
story, and it wasn't my knee. It was my left ankle. And I broke both
Oh,
bones
boy.
straight across. And I remember laying on the ground.
So was it football or baseball?
It was baseball.
It was baseball.
But come on, dude. You're spinning a yarn. It's press for like a football show. You're like, oh, cool. I'll just say it was football. Like, who cares? It's a better story in this specific moment and situation.
But at that time, it was not only football; it was baseball. May,
Yeah.
what's your most embarrassing?
Mine are like, okay, here's like a weird thing that I struggle or like that is sort of weird about me is like, it's a little harder for me to get embarrassed, not in like a cool way, but it's like, I immediately like, I think it's so funny that I usually can't stop. Yeah. My best friend just told me a really good one. That I usually think it's just so funny that I like burst out laughing. So it's not like it's not like I usually like die of shame. I usually am like, this is so embarrassing that I can't stop laughing. It's the funniest thing of all time. But I will say, my best friend Rachel just reminded me that you know how like when you're dating someone, you're always like, how are we gonna cross this like farting line? You know, you're like, who's
I got
gonna
a
fart
story about
first?
that. Yeah.
When are we gonna get comfortable with it? And then like you're on the other side of it, you're farting all the time, nobody cares. But there's always that like initial like, I don't have a butthole thing, you know what I mean? And so like then you're farting and it's whatever. And so like I with my boyfriend, unfortunately for him, I was like, we're still in the phase of like, you know, I mean, we joked about it, whatever, but I was like, I don't have a butthole. So then we were sleeping, and one morning we woke up, and he was like trying to kind of be nice and cuddly, and he kind of like put his hand like a little bit too like kind of close to my butt, like in like a cute little like morning like squeeze my butt morning way, like a little like this.
He accidentally slipped a
And
digit.
out came a huge fart. Basically, his hand was like cupped. So it was like he basically like caught it in his hand. And it was like it was like hot and he felt the wind. And it was like it was like there was a moment of like and then we could not stop laughing. And it's like still the funniest thing I've ever heard. It was really like to fart directly into like a closed small area that happens to be attached to the person that you want to think that you're an elegant little whatever it was pretty spectacular. But of course, immediately it was the funniest thing of all time. Because,
Yeah.
you know,
I hope I never catch someone's fart.
bro, you should try it. Don't knock it until you try it.
All right, I'll start
It's
with
a
my
real
own.
intimacy booster. You know what I'm saying?
If I caught it on accident, I would put it on you.
This is gross.
Throw it.
This
I would
is-
throw it towards you.
I had
Oh
someone.
wait, I can't talk about farting. You guys are talking about
No.
like rubbing shit on your faces, and I'm like,
I'm
I
not saying- no,
fart,
no.
and it's
I was
like-
gonna say what I was about to say is gross. Not this is gross. Stop talking about it. I
why
used to.
was
There's a kid I
gross?
grew up with who, when he would do what he called catching his farts and then throw them at you, and
That's
I thought it was
it.
the grossest thing.
That's totally it. It's
Well.
exactly the same concept.
So you know what would have been good is if your boyfriend caught your fart and then threw it back in your face.
That's what I said. That's
Totally.
what I would have done. I would have
Yeah, that's
caught
what he
it
would
and
have
then
done.
immediately thrown it back onto you.
Here's your stinky
And I
fart. I
would've-
hope you like it.
Yeah, I wish they went further. It's like air particles. It's hard to get the, momentum, but Lord above, I wouldn't recommend it.
Love it. Love it. Well, if I'm not incorrect, I think Scott's looking at some listener questions, which is great.
Well, yeah. I mean,
I think we should jump into one of those.
so. We're turning around.
Is the
and
first
heading back
one
to
what's
Fort.
wrong with
let's,
you?
let's dock it up,
Yeah. Okay.
Call me
Heading back
Captain Sandy. I'm going to dock this vessel.
Heading back to shore with a couple of overtime things. One of the
Not Captain Ron?
Well, Captain Sandy's from a reality show, so we could talk about it. We're not going to talk about it. It's Below Deck.
Oh, smart.
below deck. Yeah. My
All right,
wife
let's-
and I do Taco Bell Below Deck Mondays. That was a date night that we started in the pandemic, and we still have continued on.
Sounds delicious.
We just spend the evening together watching some reality television, eating some Taco Bell, and I do love my Baja Blast. Okay.
All right, hit us with a good one, Scotty Poo.
Co in the know wants to know
So
your
he's not
acting
in the
careers
know.
outside of screen. Do you have a theatrical background at all? And if so,
Can you repeat the question?
Co in the know would love to hear about our acting careers outside of the screens, which I'm guessing we could still talk about on stage. How did you kind of get your start? School? Did you ever do any stage productions that you're incredibly fond of?
I mean, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Co, but no. I mean, I did stuff in college and high school. That's it. I haven't done anything since.
I did a play where I had to be completely, entirely butt naked. And
Whoa.
I'd never done any kind of nudity ever in anything. Like truly never even really been in like a bathing suit on screen. And then this play came up and it was at the Taper, which I love in LA. And it was a really cool play called The Mystery of Love and Sex by Bathsheba Duran, who's really talented and cool. And it was a really wild thing because, it's so vulnerable. And I mean, especially because it wasn't like in a lascivious moment. It's in like this really kind of like sad, vulnerable moment where she's basically begging her best friend that she's in love with to like love her back. And he like rejects her. And so it's like, it's like the, pinnacle of her like life and her trauma. So it was like, it wasn't like, like exploitive. It felt like sad and good and vulnerable. But I'm telling you, especially during the matinee, most of the people who would attend that show were older, were sort of asleep, were not, prepared for that. And Lord, every single time, my panties dropped, there was an audible wave across the audience. I'm telling you, people got up and left. Like, I remember one time, literally, there was like a collective gasp, and then we just heard this woman in the front row go, "Oh my!" And it was like, everyone was like, yes, like loudly exclaiming as if it was like the worst thing anyone's ever seen. They were like, oh, like there was like always. So we always had to like pause. We had to like work in a pause for my naked moment for people to like audibly react. So, not the most confidence booster, but you learn not to take things personally as an actor. You learn to learn that it's about them and not you.
Is that the only stage you've done? Is that the only play you've done, or has everything else?
That's like the most official one.
Yeah.
I've done like I used to work for this thing called the Young Playwrights Festival, which was so much fun too. They would take like kids would write, like of all ages, would write these plays, and then they would put them on with like professional actors. So you'd have like 5-year-olds submitting these plays that made absolutely no sense, and you would have like all these really professional actors trying to actually like perform them seriously, and they got to like bring their friends and family, and you put them on like professionally in this theater for a while. And that was really fun. My dad has like a big theater background. He's like a techie guy and stuff like that. So it's like, it was always very encouraged to do that stuff. And I would love to do more of that. That would be like a total dream. I think it's really fun and really scary.
Well, let's do it now. Why not? Let's do it.
Well, not right now. We're about to wrap up this episode.
Oh, not right now. You know what I mean. Zach, so
Next episode.
you went to school, though, for theater at Northwestern University, right?
Well, it's the acting.
Acting.
Yeah.
Did you ever do any stage work there?
Yeah, no, I said I did a bunch of stuff in college.
What'd
and
you
high
do?
school. I don't know, plays.
Why are you being so cute
I
about
did a
it.
bunch of plays. You know, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna run through my resume.
Were you all like, if I was a rich man?
No, I didn't do musical theater.
Okay.
That was not
Just curious.
my bag. Scott,
I hear you.
well, we know Tarzan.
Yeah, no, I got my start in a barbershop quartet in high school. And then we added a member and I started beatboxing and I had an a cappella group. They're called Voice Play. You can find them on YouTube.
I watched the video not that long ago and I forgot I was going to bring it up and talk to you about it. And I could not fucking believe it. You guys we gotta post this. This is like a serious enterprise, not to say enterprise again.
Yeah,
but
the
this
group-
is like, you guys
What
were
are they
no
called?
joke.
Voice what?
We started out as a barbershop quartet and then we became a 4-2-5 because we added a member. Quartet to a quintet. And then, we had a couple of albums. We won Next Big Star, which was Ed McMahon's online Star Search. So we won Star Search
Yep.
basically. And then all of us kind of started performing at theme parks. I was the Wolfman, Frankenstein, Dracula, a Ghostbuster. I was a pirate at a medieval times-ish pirate show called Pirate's Dinner Adventure. Yeah, man, I kind of, and then I went to New York beatboxing. There was a show called Toxic Audio, and I beatboxed off Broadway and got to perform in between Hugh Jackman from A Boy from Oz and P. Diddy in Raisin in the Sun during the Drama Desk Awards. That's how I got my start. And then I did a show off Broadway called Altar Boys. That was kind of how I learned. I just learned on stage, just taking what I could from, because the thing is back in Orlando and the group that I started with, they're called Voice Play now, and go check them out. They are incredible. But there are so many talented individuals in this world, and some of the most talented people I know are in Orlando, Florida, performing at the theme parks and, just living an awesome, comfortable, like really cool life where, they never got the break that, they deserve, I think, in my mind, because, a lot of them are more talented than me. I watch these people constantly and go, God, you guys are just incredible. Everybody that I knew down there. So I would just borrow what I could, and I just got lucky along the way and ended up here. But they are just incredible. I love all of them. And my time at theme parks, that's how I got my start. That was my big learning ground. It was kind of, real world learning. So,
There you go.
yeah, that's kind of how it all started for me. So, Co in the Know, I hope we answered your question. My shirt was a topic of conversation today. I wanted a quick overtime mention. The reason I'm wearing it is I was going to wear it anyway throughout the course of the show.
Because your muscles are big?
No, the name on the shirt is Gridiron Heroes, and they are an incredible organization. We are getting back into the time of year where it is going to be football for a big portion of this country. High schools are in two-a-days getting ready to start their high school football seasons, and in the state of Texas, some kids suffer catastrophic spinal injuries through the sport of football. And this organization, Gridiron Heroes, that is on my shirt, are the people that are there for you in the state of Texas if that were to happen to your family. They raise money to help families deal with the aftermath of these huge injuries, like what happened to my character on the show we cannot talk about. And I wanted to give them some props and let everybody know as we go into this new football season that, I know a lot of people in the world are looking for places to give. And if you're looking for a place to give that is going to put your dollars to fantastic use, they help families buy handicap vans. They help widen doorways in homes and help rebuild homes or do renovations to homes so that
They're accessible.
Yeah, they're accessible, and they help build
really
ramps.
cool.
They help do all these things and take care of families. Chris Canales, Eddie Canales, his father, their whole family are just incredible. So that's why I wore the shirt today. It's not only football, it's charity. Gridiron Heroes, go and check them out. Everybody, you can find them online.
Love it. Love it. Yeah, we did
Yeah.
a bunch of
Love
fundraisers
that.
with them while we were down in Texas.
We sure did. I think that is all for today. Thank you again to our cruise director, Zach Gilford.
Just get ready. Get ready. This is a mini
putting
run.
us on the hot seat and
This is just a rehearsal, sweetheart.
sharing survival tactics. If you ever come in, contact with a very large, very hairy mammal, that's not me.
Okay.
May, how you
Yeah.
feeling?
Good. I'm eating a piece of butter lettuce and just feeling real happy to be here. You know what I'm saying?
Gotta
I
get
didn't
your
know if it was
roughage.
lettuce or like a Oh, now I can tell it's lettuce. When you were flinging it around on the
Yeah.
fork, I was like, is that a spinach ravioli? I'm just hungry, folks. I really need
wish.
to
Let's
eat.
get this
Jesus
man some
God.
food, okay?
Yeah.
Thank
smart.
you, everybody else out there, for listening. Please continue to send in your questions and the topics that you would love. Also, trust me, I read all of your jokes. I read all of your experiences. Someone online said that their grandmother made them a Quillo, which I mentioned
Ooh.
last week.
Wow.
So I'm not the only one who knows what a Quillo
Hey,
is.
next week, let's read a couple of them jokes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
for
I want to
sure.
hear some.
But thank you so much for coming along on the ride. Seems like you guys had a lot of fun last week. I hope you had fun this week. And we will see you next Thursday morning for another episode of It's Not Only Football, blank, 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 and beyond. For myself, Scott Porter.
I am Zachary Michael Gilford.
I am Mae Margaret Whitman.
Oh,
Damn it.
and we say clear eyes, full hearts. Still can't talk about the show. See you next week.
Peace.
Love you.